Go cry your huge tears on your huge pillow, lass. Hey everyone, Chef Geoff here. Welcome to my kitchen. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by, and don't forget to hit the old subscribe button. If you like what you're seeing, give me a big thumbs up. So today's recipe will be posted on chefgeoff.ca. The method, ingredients, how to make it, etc. The recipe card is there for your reference. So okay, if you want to think like a chef, you have to be able to adapt your menu development to your guests' dietary restrictions and food sensitivities. So with that in mind, we're gonna make a low-carb, keto chicken and leek soup. It's super healthy. It's made with homemade bone broth, that's hard to say, and it's adapted from a Scottish recipe called Cock-A-Leekie soup. Oh, okay, the Scots are true wordsmiths, so anyway, so let's get started. Okay, I got my pot here with a little bit of butter, and I got some leftover pork belly fat from my pork belly braise recipe. So we're just going to add a touch of that into our pan here. And what we're going to do is we're going to saute off some fine chopped white onion. That's going to go in. If you're looking for some tips on how to do that, you can find that on my Knife Skills 101 video. We're going to add some garlic, about 3 cloves worth of crushed garlic. A little bit of salt, and a touch of pepper. So as I was saying, this is a traditional an adaptation of a Scottish recipe called Cock-A-Leekie soup. So much fun to say. And now because we're adapting this to people's dietary restrictions and so forth, one of the key ingredients to it is barley or any kind of grain. Some people say barley, some people say rice. We're going to go with barley. We're going to cook this separately and have it on hand, so for those who can have the gluten stuff, we'll be able to use it, and those who cannot, just omit it. So what we got here is, when you're cooking barley separately, get on, there we go. We're going to get this on medium heat. It's always 3 to 1, so this is a 1/4 cup of barley, and I've got 3 cups of water and a little bit of salt. The other advantage to doing this way and cooking your barley separately is if you add it in while it's cooking in your pot and you have it left over in your fridge, all that barley is eventually going to start absorbing all the broth and all the liquid afterwards. So you'll kind of be left with a bit of sludge. When it's all said and done, you're going to lose all of your liquid and so forth. So it's actually kind of better to keep your barley and your grains separate in this soup application. So while we have our stuff working on the stove here, I'm just going to show you the cut sizes for our leeks. These are gigantic. I have 3 of them already cut. That's 1 full bunch. But I'll just show you quickly some quick cut sizes for this. So I've already removed like that fat, long, dark greens part of it. But all we're doing is cutting it straight in half. And we're going to cut kind of thin half moons. Why are you fighting with me? There we go. They don't have to be super precise. They will kind of break down. That's really all there is to it. Okay, I've got my onions nice and soft. It's really getting fragrant with the garlic and so forth. Got a little spice blend here. We have a bay leaf, a teaspoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of dry garlic. In you go. Just gonna work this through real quick and mix it in. If you had some sage, which I do not, but if you did, you want to add a little teaspoon of that, would be great. So this wouldn't be a Scottish soup with a whole whack of scotch. So I've got 2 ounces of scotch right in there. We're gonna let the alcohol kind of burn off real quick. All right, great. So we're gonna add in. This is about 3 pieces of chopped up parsnip. You know, if you had some carrots, go for it. But again, carrots have that element of carbs that you don't want in the keto diet. Parsnips are much lower in that sense, so we're going with parsnips. All right, guys. So I've got about 1.5 liters of chicken stock, and if you remember, I'll put a link up for my my homemade bone broth recipe from last week, and this is going to go straight in. 1.5 liters. And what we're going to do at this point is we're going to bring it to a boil. We're going to simmer it for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to add in our leeks and our chicken. I also got this chicken here. if you add your leeks in now, they would kind of disintegrate and turn to mush. So we're gonna let this come to a boil. We're gonna add our leeks, simmer for 10 minutes, and we're done. It's starting to smell great in here, guys. And I mean, there's just something about chicken soup in the wintertime, in the colder months. It's pure comfort. So we brought things to a boil here. They're simmering, and I'm just gonna kind of skim some of the impurities here. You're starting to see foam and a little bit of oil. So I'm just tipping my, what's that word? That is called can't think of the word. Help me out here.
Ladle.
Ladle. It's called a ladle. And so I'm just getting rid of these impurities, and at this point we're just going to put this to kind of a low simmer. And I've got some pulled chicken from my my chicken stock video, and I had it separate just for this, and it's going to go straight in the pot. It might splash at me, so there we go. And it's got all that collagen in there that's so good for you. Great. And I got a whole whack of leeks that's going to go in. Now all these leeks are going to break down to basically nothing. And at this point, I always say when you're making clear soups like this, just season as you go. So we're going to add a little bit of salt, maybe just a pinch more. We're going to add some pepper. We're going to let this thing come to a boil. We're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes. We're going to do a little bit of finishing touches. We're going to be good to go. So as you can see, our barley here is almost totally what's the word I'm looking for? Absorbed, there we go. It's almost ready to go. We're going to let this, once all the liquid is gone, it's ready to go. It takes about 20-30 minutes. Okay, so the Scots in their infinite wisdom, while they may be wordsmiths, there's one thing that I really respect for them. So what I've got here is about 4 or 5 pitted prunes. They've been chopped up a little bit smaller. And they're also really, really good for you, really good for digestion and so forth. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the soup, and it's going to add a little bit of sweetness. But the really fun thing here is the soup is a little bit pale in color right now from all the leeks and so forth. But the color of, or sorry, the color from the leeks, or sorry, from the prunes are going to seep into the broth and give it a nice kind of golden brown color to it. So, you know, before there was gravy color and so forth, there was prunes, and this is what like Scottish grandmas used to use way back in the day. Okay, it smells amazing in here, and this soup really came together so quickly because we had everything ready. You know, as I was saying before, a good chicken stock is a foundation for a great recipe. And before we finish off, we always want to season our soup. So I'm gonna add some cracks of pepper, some salt. We're gonna mix this stuff in, and we're gonna taste it and see if it's okay. I hope it is. And the prunes have kind of darkened the broth just a touch as well, which is awesome. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So you're getting a little bit of sweetness from the leeks, and you have that bone broth flavor, and this is just a winner. So I really hope you've enjoyed today's recipe, guys. It's like just a perfect keto meal. We've got you know, low carb, high protein soup. So as I was saying before, when you want to adjust your menu development based on people's dietary restrictions and so forth, easy way to do that is to remove things like barley and so forth. I kind of forgot to add a little bit of fresh herbs as well. When you're finishing a soup, always add your fresh herbs right at the end. I'm gonna just get a little bit out of there. In we go, perfect. And if you add your herbs earlier, you're just gonna get, they'll just go black, and you're not gonna get the really good seasoning and flavor out of it. So we'll get a little bit more. There we go, perfect. And there's our fresh herbs. That's just a really hearty, lovely looking soup. So for me, I'm not on the keto diet, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of barley to this soup right on top. Just kind of get it all over the place. Perfect. Dirty hands. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna pair this with some Glenlivet. This is like high reserve stuff. This is a 25-year-old scotch, and I just really think because of this is a Cock-A-Leekie soup, it's gonna go super, super well with Cock-A-Leekie soup. So, from my kitchen to yours, friends, bon appetit.